Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be going over some more things you can do with the body in FastAPI. So I've got a basic setup here for a post endpoint for creating a post. And the data we're accepting is going to be a dictionary of a string mapped to a string, integer, or boolean. And we just return the data as received is the data that came in. This is just showing that you can do this without using a Pydantic model. So we can go ahead and load up the terminal and type unicorn app:/app -reload to go and start the application. And then we'll go ahead and head over to the browser. We can see we have our post endpoint here with some example data of the JSON object that our application requests. You can go and try it out, just leave it as it is and execute. We can see we get a 200 response, and the data received is the data we sent in. So this is just to show you that you don't need to use a Pydantic model, although Pydantic models do make things a bit better. And we'll see that here in the next part of this video. If you only care about one attribute from the JSON body, you can actually just go ahead and specify it here. And you give it a type and set it equal to body imported from FastAPI. And then we can add this embedded equals true. And this would just mean that the variable that we have is inside a JSON object. It's not just the data being sent in as like a raw string. You can also get rid of this, and we'll see what that looks like in the docs here in a second. But we'll leave this here for now, and we'll just go ahead and print out we received the title. Go ahead and save and reload the application, head back over to the browser. We refresh the page. We go see our endpoint, and we can see it accepts a JSON object with a title mapped to some kind of string. We could try it out, put some gibberish in there, execute it, and we can see it receive that data. If we come back up here and we add another key in here, say we added some key like rating 9999, go ahead and execute it again. And we can see the data that it was sent here through this curl command did have both title and rating, but we only cared about title since that's what all that we specified in our function. If we head back over to the code and remove this embedded equals true, we'll see how that changes in the docs. We'll go ahead and refresh. We can see this example value is no longer a JSON object, it's just a quoted string or quoted value, what we call a raw value. We go ahead and try it out. We have it there, execute it. And we can see the 200 response. And the difference here is we can see that in this curl command, this -g just passed this string. It didn't pass this in the format of a JSON object. Interestingly enough, if you add another value here like rating, this will automatically go ahead and treat both of these as embedded equals true, since now we care about more than one value. And whenever you do use Pydantic models, it automatically sets the body to embedded, since it expects some kind of JSON structure. So if we leave it like this and head back over to the browser, we'll refresh the page. And now we can see the example data going in is now title and rating in a JSON object. We can go and try it out, execute it again. And the data being passed in is a JSON object. And we receive the data as a string and string. And that's just because I haven't changed the values up here. So going into an example with the Pydantic model, we have the post model here inheriting from base model, which comes from Pydantic. And we have it with the title, content, it's published, and rating. Accepting these post values in the request body. And doing this is the same as saying that this post is equal to body. This is implied, so we don't need to specify that. But we just return that we received the data and got the title. We did see this in the last video. But with these Pydantic models, we can use fields to specify more constraints that we want on these values. Here is an example. On the title, we can specify it as a field, giving it some kind of title for the docs, and then specifying some kind of restraint on it. So in this case, we want a max length of 100 characters. For the content, same thing, but with a max length of 255 characters. And for the rating, well, we want it greater than equal to 0 or less than equal to 10. But it is optional, so it can be none as well. So if we go ahead and save this, and let it restart the application, head back over to the browser, go ahead and refresh the page to this post endpoint, and we can see now the values have been updated. If we go ahead and try it out, we can modify these values if you want, or we can just go ahead and execute it. And we get a 200 response, receiving the data. To verify these constraints work, we can put something here like 100, execute it again, and there was an error saying this rating was not less than or equal to 10. So we can see these constraints still work on these as well. So we can actually use the path, query, and body all together. And here's an example. Let's say we had a patch endpoint where we wanted to update a post with a certain ID, determine if we want to notify our users using a query parameter, and then having the data on the post to update in the body. And we'll just go ahead and return this to say that we got everything. So go ahead and reload the application, head back over to the browser, refresh the page, and we can see now we have an ID being required, a notify boolean that is optional, and then the request body right here. So we can go ahead and try it out. Let's say we have an ID of 15, notify to true. And we'll go ahead and modify the body values, go ahead and execute it, and we get a 200 response, showing that it got the data we put into it. And if we do look at this curl command, we can see that right here is the path parameter. Then we have the query parameter right after the question mark, and then the JSON value here for the body. So an interesting thing is you can actually specify more than one body parameter or value here. And this behaves quite interestingly. So we have in the body, we want a post object or just JSON values with the post values, and then a JSON value for the user ID. And we're embedding that in the body. Here, this would make a difference if we have it embedded or not. Then we'll just return the data that was received. But the question then becomes, how will the data be expected when someone calls this API endpoint? Like, what is the body going to look like whenever you send data to this API? Well, let's see. We save and reload the application, go back into the browser, go ahead and reload. And this is how the data will be accepted. There is a post key now with the post values, and then the user ID key here as two separate entries in this JSON body. We could try it out, don't have to change anything, go ahead and execute. And we see we got a 200 response. It received the user ID 0 and the post title of string, even though there's a typo there. And so this will also allow us to do something like this. We can use two different Pydantic models in the request body. Let's say there are some other attributes on this user we wanted, like maybe a username or something else. This is so we can easily separate the data inside the JSON body to how we want to receive it. And this will allow for reuse, so we can reuse this user or this post in a few different endpoints if we need it in the request body. If you save this and go ahead and head back over to the browser, we'll open up our endpoint and we can see the data being received is this. We have a post key and now a user key with the user values here, just like the post values. So just like we saw with the post and query parameters, we can also use annotated from typing on the body as well. So just like we saw with both the query and path parameters, we can also use annotated on the body as well. This will just allow us to add extra information to our specific parameter for the OpenAPI docs. But the first argument is the model that you want to be associated with this, and then whatever it is, so in this case, the body. So if we have it like this and head back over to the browser, we can see our values here. But having this with a bunch of values inside a function could get a little bit messy with how big it can be. So you can actually extract this out. And you could do something like this. We have an annotated post is equal to the annotation of this post and body. And just have this post be a type of annotated post. You save this and head back to the browser, refresh the page, and we get the same output. But something interesting to note is if we actually come right here and say embed equals true, and then save it, reload it, and head back to the browser, go ahead and refresh the page, we can now see this post data is inside a post key. And this is because when we set that embedded equals true, it means all the values for that specific model will be inside the variable that we declared. So in this case, this post variable. If we change this to ABC, update there as well, save and reload the application and head back to the browser, we'll go ahead and refresh the page. And we can see our variable now that it's embedded is ABC. Whenever you use more than one Pydantic model inside the same body for a function, it'll go ahead and automatically embed it like this. That way it's easier to extract the values that you need. And that's it for this episode. If you found this helpful, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.